The topic of AI, it's something that always comes back because it's already natural, right? We all use it for something in our lives. And in this video, I want to discuss about the future of AI in terms of the future of our jobs. Of course, I'm not an economist here, and I won't have the academic knowledge to discuss about it economically speaking, but I want to bring here in a religious perspective, more in a Christian perspective, and take from the gospel of Jesus, how can we solve in our own reality that problem, and see how Christ can inspire us to already take the next step and not wait until something terrible happens in our lives in terms of the AI substituting us in the job that we are right now. So I'm going to bring here some interviews and debate that Stephen Bartlett was the mediator on all that. First, a discussion with Dr. Roman Yapolsky, if I'm not saying wrong, and then the debate that he is having with AI experts, Amjad Masad, Brad Waston, and Daniel Priestley, all discussing this topic on AI and how it's affecting our lives in the most direct way in terms of our jobs, and how our uniqueness as human beings is getting to a point where it needs to be focused on. And that I will connect with what Christ brings in his gospel. So let's watch here these videos and discuss more about it.
You must hear a lot of rebuttals to when you say it, because people experience a huge amount of mental discomfort when they hear that their job, their career, the thing they got a degree in, the thing they invested $100,000 into is going to be taken away from them. So their natural reaction, for some people, is that cognitive dissonance that, no, you're wrong, AI can't be creative, it's not this, it's not that, it'll never be interested in my job, I'll be fine because. You hear these arguments all the time, right?
It's really funny. I ask people, and I ask people in different occupations. I'll ask my Uber driver, are you worried about self-driving cars? And they go, no. No one can do what I do. I know the streets of New York. I can navigate like no AI. I'm safe. And it's true for any job. Professors are saying this to me. Oh, nobody can lecture like I do. Like, this is so special. But you understand it's ridiculous. We already have self-driving cars replacing drivers. That is not even a question if it's possible. It's like, how soon before you're fired?
Yeah, I mean, I've just been in LA yesterday. And
so here is something very impactful, because for you to think and have the mentality to at least accept this idea, it's very hard. It's not easy for everybody, for you to already be thinking, okay, how soon I will be fired from the job that it's now the one that is making it possible for me to live, to have everything that my family needs. And it's a hard question. It's a hard topic to be thinking about it. But unfortunately, it is a reality. And that's something that we have to already be working on, psychologically speaking, spiritually speaking, with ourselves. But there's still hope. And that's what we try and want to bring this here in this video, is that there is still hope. So let us see here Dr. Roman Yapolsky bringing another point, which is this other perspective that we also need to have, besides the first one that he just brought.
Human. So that's gone. So I can't really tell you right now. The hardest thing is design AI agents for practical applications. I guarantee you in a year or two, it's going to be gone just as well. So I don't think there is this occupation needs to learn to do this instead. I think it's more like we as a humanity, then we all lose our jobs. What do we do? What do we do financially? Who's paying for us? And what do we do in terms of meaning? What do I do with my extra 60, 80 hours a week?
You've thought around this corner, haven't you?
A little bit.
What is around that corner, in your view?
So the economic part seems easy. If you create a lot of free labor, you have a lot of free wealth, abundance, things which are right now not very affordable become dirt cheap, and so you can provide for everyone basic needs. Some people say you can provide beyond basic needs. You can provide very good existence for everyone. The hard problem is, what do you do with all that free time? For a lot of people, their jobs are what gives them meaning in their life, so they would be kind of lost. We see it with people who retire or do early retirement. And for so many people who hate their jobs, they'll be very happy not working. But now you have people who are chilling all day. What happens to society? How does that impact crime rate, pregnancy rate, all sorts of issues? Nobody thinks about. Governments don't have programs prepared to deal with 99% unemployment.
These questions that he is bringing also impacted Stephen Bartlett. And I bet you, I mean, I'm not in his mind, but I bet you that he started thinking on opportunities here, because he's an entrepreneur at the end of all. And he was probably thinking on some opportunities that he could have in this scenario. And that's a mentality that we also need to have, to be open-minded to the point of seeing opportunities. Now, for us to understand the opportunities that we have, we must first understand ourselves. And that's when religion becomes an intrinsic part of our lives, spirituality as well, that cannot be separated from religiosity. And on that, I want to bring here another video, also from Stephen Bartlett, when he is having this debate with, as we said in the beginning, Amjad Masad, Brett Weinstein, and Daniel Priestley, on the impacts of AI for us, human beings. Now, just for us to see here, what is it that they bring? Let us watch.
Yeah.
Because we've never seen intelligent. That's like, I could think of this as I'm not an intelligent person on this, but I could see that as like the disruption of muscles. Whereas this is the disruption of intelligence.
That's exactly the thing, is that what makes human beings special is our cognitive capacity, and very specifically our ability to plug our minds into each other so that the sum or the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. That's what makes human cognition special. And what we are doing is we are creating something that can technologically surpass it without any of the preconditions that make that a safe process. So yes, we've revolutionized the world how many different times? It's innumerable, but we've made farming vastly more efficient. That's different than taking our core competency as a species and surpassing ourselves with the product of our labor. I think your question is a good one. Then what does become?
We only have one thing left. We have our muscles, which we got rid of in the Industrial Revolution. And then we have our intellect, which is this digital revolution. Now we're left with emotions and agency. So we essentially, the agency idea, I think we used to judge people on IQ, and now IQ is the big leveler. And now going forward for the next 10 years, we're going to look at, are you a high agency person or a low agency person? Do you have the ability to get things done and coordinate agents? Do you have the ability to start businesses or give orders to digital armies? And essentially these high agency people are going to thrive in this new world because they have this other thing that's been bubbling under the surface, which is
really interesting. When you said age,
you see here that they are all kind of talking about the same thing, that we need to pay attention to, and on our uniqueness. one thing that I find very interesting was Dr. Weinstein saying about our uniqueness on connect to each other. And that's the point. And that's the point of religion, and specifically Christianity, is for us to understand and perceive that we are, above all, creatures created in the image and likeness of God in our spirits. And that means that we have, intrinsically speaking, not only the capacity but the necessity to connect to other human beings, other creatures, animals, to God's creation, to God Himself. And that's the point that I think we need to be very open to. And it is the idea that beyond this AI revolution that will substitute routine type jobs, jobs of mass production, industrial jobs, but what all that shows us, as well as we are experiencing with that, is the missing link or at least the gap that exists, and it is necessary for us to pay attention to, which is this connection, the necessity to connect with someone that is real, with another human being. And if we take what Dr. Yampolsky brought and what those four experts that they are discussing in scientific terms, in the idea of being an entrepreneur, right, of someone that is looking for opportunities, taking that into account, we see that what they're bringing here is that the opportunity will be in jobs that are in relation to connection. And we can already have some jobs in our minds, even though I saw also once someone saying that, for instance, social assistants will be substituted by AI. I don't think that will be the case. Maybe the routine area of that, you can automate it, but not the relationship part. Psychology, psychiatrists, you have the necessity of people there for you to have a connection with, for you to open about your traumas, about things that you need to work on. And now, more than anything else, I believe that preachers, priests, pastors will be more not only necessary, but in high demand in these years to come. And bringing here the gospel, what is it that Christ tells us? In His gospel, Jesus brings us right in His Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 6 verses, I have verses here selected from 19 to 20, 25 to 27, and 33, because what is it that He brings us? Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. This for us is a connection to the meaning part that Dr. Yampolsky was discussing. We very much are connected to the job that we're doing that has a deep and spiritually meaning for us. And Christ is here telling us, look, don't get yourself stuck in what is material. That is, don't put everything that means to you, that it's connected right to your core as a spirit, as an eternal being created in the image and likeness of God, and put everything on it. Because the material part will fade with time. That's what we're seeing. Jobs, in essence, in this world, they are bound to the material thing that we are working with. If you think about driving, if you think about industrial work, if you think about production, it is with the material output that we are creating with that. So we have to think about spiritual output, let's say. What is it that I can do and that is bound to the spirit, to emotions, to this necessity of being connected with someone else as beings created in the image and likeness of God? And then you have there the part where Christ is telling us not to be anxious about the material things that will be necessary for us, because everybody is talking. Everybody that is in this pool of AI discussions and the future of AI in jobs, they are all talking about how it will boost productivity and the industrial part, and then we will have this abundant wealth. Now, that is a point that it needs a lot of discussions, because you can say that, yes, AI and all this technology that are being developed, it will create an abundant wealth for everybody, but only if the people that are behind and that are in the front lines of this discussion and this work are also empathetic to the people that don't have the means and people that don't have the same opportunities that everyone, not everyone else, but that those people that have opportunities to technology has. You know what I mean? I'm talking in a very complex way here, but the bottom line is we still have class divisions. We still have the rich, the middle class, and the poor. We still have that. And having a boost in productivity doesn't mean that the wealth generated will be given to everybody. It doesn't mean that it will happen. So we shouldn't be waiting for people having goodwill if, historically speaking, as we know, that's not the case. Not everybody is a philanthropist or someone that will give the wealth that they're having to the poor. So we will need intermediates, people ready to be agents of that, to be taking from the wealth that is being generated and be given to those that have less opportunities, that are in dire needs of the bread and water and food for their survival, and cannot even think about technology because they are thinking about the hunger that they are feeling. They are thinking about the security that they need to provide for their children. They're thinking about the roof that they don't have, and that they're facing the hardships that the environment brings to them, the security part, criminality, all that. We still have that. And it doesn't mean that by having an industrial boost with AI and the technology that we now have, all of that will fade, will end. It doesn't mean that, because we will still need people. And then we come back to what Priestley was saying, agents, people that take the mantle, and we could even say the mantle of Christianity, Christians that are ready to work for those that are in need, the Christians that want to be the intermediates of that. So I think that the opportunities that we have for the future with everything that is going on technologically speaking is that first of all, we will need and will be in higher demand of jobs that promotes connection, that human-to-human relationship, and also jobs that will guarantee that everybody will have the same and fair opportunity to not be in misery, to not be in poverty. So we're talking about not only a revolution in technology, but also, I would say, a revolution in the third sector, that is the sector of social assistance, the sector of spiritual assistance, with preachers, pastors, priests, bringing and showing the path that Christ lays out for all of us in his gospel for a meaning in the life that we now have, showing a path for us to connect ourselves to God through our relationship with others. So in the end, that is being a great opportunity for us as well to start working on paths that will promote our connection to God and to Christ. As we, and to conclude here, see also in his gospel, according to Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, when he's telling us, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." Interestingly enough, Brother Paiva and Brother Zarur always said that this is an urgent formula for all of us, and that Christ is bringing. Brother Zarur said that it is the urgent formula of Christ, and Brother Paiva said that is the economically urgent formula of Christ for us. So you see the connection here. This, economically speaking, not in a sense or a cold sense of only treating people as numbers and not like cattle, because, as Brother Paiva also brings here in his article, Sustainability Through a Heavenly Economy, Jesus, the divine economist, in turn offers us a new path built on the eternally renewable basis of the Spirit, the perpetual motion, the curely of planetary development between worlds. That is, the material world that we are right now and the spiritual world that it is our origin. So, in summary, for us to finish, we need to be open to perceive the opportunities that Christ and God is giving to us to fulfill also with his teachings, as we see in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, so that we can all seek the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then everything that is necessary for our survival will be added to our lives. Let us do that. Let us pray to God, to Christ, so that he can help us already have the mentality, already be with our hearts prepared for this transition that is happening in the world and in society in material terms. But then in the spiritual, it still has a lot to be worked on. The emotion side of society, our relationship with others, the necessity of connection, and treat the traumas, the spiritual stain, the problems that we all have in our hearts, in our souls. That is the opportunity of the future for us to turn ourselves to the spiritual side of life. And we conclude here by wishing you that the peace of God may be upon you today and always. I see you in the next one.